Anyway, we're gonna move on from this story though to banning TikTok.
This is democracy.
Because there is a bipartisan attack on TikTok because it's a Chinese app. And it really has nothing to do with like data privacy or anything like that. They just don't want China to do it, or they don't want a Chinese company to be so dominant in the space. So that's where we're at. We're going to take a look at my girl, Amy Goodman, the queen, the GOAT. Okay, and how Democracy Now! Is covering this. And then I'm going to talk a little bit more about the insanely broad Restrict Act that could ban much more than just TikTok. Leaving it to the Secretary of Commerce to ban whoever the fuck they want.
Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. As a growing number of governments worldwide enact new limits on social media apps, we look now at bipartisan calls at home to ban one specific app here in the United States, the Chinese-owned TikTok. Last Thursday, Congress members grilled TikTok CEO Shou Zi-Chew during a 5-hour hearing on the app's ties to the Chinese government, data practices, and its effects on children's mental health. This is Democratic Florida Congressmember Darren Soto questioning Chew.
So, Mr. Chu, would TikTok be prepared to divest from ByteDance and Chinese Communist Party ties if the Department of Treasury instructed you all to do so?
Congressman, I said in my opening statement, I think we need to address the problem of privacy. I agree with you. I don't think ownership is the issue here. With a lot of respect, American social companies don't have a good track record with data privacy and user security. I mean, look at Facebook and Cambridge Analytica, just one example.
This comes as a bipartisan group of U.S. senators has introduced the Restrict Act, which stands for Restricting the Emergence of Security Threats That Risk Information.
It also kind of sucks that like TikTok drops some fucking loads into the pockets of a lot of progressive or progressive adjacent congresspersons who are advocating for the right things in this circumstance to stop like a wholesale ban. But, you know, it kind of muddies the message a little bit.
Information Communications Technology Act, which would allow the federal government to potentially ban technology from countries the U.S. considers to be adversaries, including China.
Insane.
Meanwhile, Democratic Congressmember Jamal Bowman of New York has been a leading opponent of a TikTok ban.
So we're talking about free speech for everyday Americans.
I get why he's doing, but it's insane to hear a major CEO advocate for regulations. Oh, the fucking CEO of TikTok? Yeah, I mean, he's advocating for regulations because I don't think it would ultimately happen. I think he knows that it won't happen, and he has to say that because otherwise it's like, you know, he can't simultaneously stand against regulations and then sit there as they blame him for all of the fucking problems.
Talking about small business owners who use TikTok to grow their business. And my question is, and we're going to pivot to the other part of the conversation, why the hysteria and the panic and the targeting of TikTok? As we know, Republicans in particular have been sounding the alarm, creating a red scare around China.
Congressman Bowman has been joined by New York Congressmember Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who laid out her concerns in a video she posted on TikTok after opening her first account on the app.
Usually when the United States is proposing a very major move that has something to do with significant risk to national security, one of the first things that happens is that Congress receives a classified briefing. And I can tell you that Congress has not received a classified briefing around the allegation.
Because the government is coming for them for following the normal privacy standards. Like, for fuck's sake, didn't the government pressure U.S. social media companies to build in back doors for them and share information they collected? They did. The real reason why this is happening is not because TikTok is doing anything out of the ordinary. The real reason why this is happening is because TikTok is doing exactly what every other social media company is doing, but better. And they are not owned by a Silicon Valley tech giant. That's it. It is American commerce protection. That's it. Nothing else. They're doing this specifically so that they can, one, further restrict whatever fucking application they want on the internet, willy-nilly, because this is a good vehicle for that kind of restriction implemented by the federal government. And two, so that they can get TikTok to be sold to an American. That's it.
Of national security risks regarding TikTok. So why would we be proposing a ban regarding such a significant issue without being clued in on this at all? It just doesn't feel right to me.
For more, we're joined in New York by Julia Angwin.
I do think it's pretty funny, though. I do think it's pretty funny to see like all these libertarian guys and gals with like the Gadsden flag on their fucking iPads and shit, running around going, absolutely unacceptable. We have to restrict what's going on this fucking platform. Look at them. They're showing guns. It's like, are you serious right now? Are you fucking joking? Like you're mad that they're like gun posting on fucking TikTok? What the fuck?
Investigative journalist, formerly with ProPublica, contributing opinion writer at the New York Times, where her latest guest essay is headlined, How to Fix the TikTok Problem. We last spoke to her in 2014 about her book, Dragnet Nation, a quest for privacy, security, and freedom in a world of relentless surveillance. Julia, welcome back to Democracy Now! It's great to have you with us. I mean, it was amazing to see this absolute bipartisan, almost consensus in the particular hearing that the CEO of TikTok was being questioned at, being grilled and demanding that TikTok be sold to a U.S. company in order for it to be saved. Talk about what Bowman said, what AOC has said, and what you think are the major concerns here.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's great to be here. And I have to say, it was amazing to watch Congress finally taking privacy seriously, but only for one app, right? So I have been writing about privacy issues. I published my book almost a decade ago, and people have been trying to get Congress to pass a federal privacy law that would protect our data on all of our apps and all of the different ways that we are.
That'd be nice, except that's not going to happen. That's never going to happen, of course.
Mediated by technology, and we're one of the only Western nations that has not passed such a bill. And so now we have, of course, this frenzy around TikTok and this idea that they're the ones who we really need to be protected against. And the reality is there's really nothing that TikTok is accused of that the other social media platforms haven't done as well.
And isn't there also the issue of the question of governments being able to use these apps for their own ends? I would assume that anything that China can do, the Chinese government can do with TikTok, the U.S. government can do with the American social media apps that are spread around the world.
Yes, but what you fail to recognize is that that's China, and China is bad. So I don't understand the point you're trying to make, because China is bad. Like when America's doing spying both on our allies and also on our enemies alike, that's good. Remember the many benefits of the Patriot Act. I mean, life became so much more safe after that happened. You remember? You remember that? You were around for it. Come on now. Clearly, you are not motivated enough to say China bad. Maybe you should repeat China bad multiple times until you fully comprehend the severity of the situation.
I mean, it's a really good point that all of these social media platforms can and have been manipulated and censored by governments, right? And so most recently, the most recent example we've seen of this actually was that there's a Twitter employee who recently was just convicted of spying on Saudi dissidents on behalf of the Saudi government.
Yeah.
And so he uses access as an employee in order to spy.
Yeah, I'm sure that's changed dramatically since Elon took over, by the way, because, Elon has no relations with the Chinese. Well, he has relations with the Chinese as well, but also with the Saudi government.
On government, on Twitter users. And, Google over the years has said that they have dismissed more than a dozen employees for misusing data about Google users. And so we've seen that this kind of thing can happen.
Good thing that there's no major ownership stake in Twitter by the Saudi government that will allow them to basically put their tentacles into every part of the fucking website however they see fit.
Happen at all of the platforms. It's also true that you don't have to own a platform in order to misuse it, right? So in the 2016 election, we know that Facebook was basically used by Russian propagandists to spread misinformation. We know that Facebook's platform was used by the Myanmar government to spread lies and hate against the.
It's pretty funny that the right has no qualms with Elon, but claims LeBron has led China. Elon has massively more investment to lose with shit talking China. Yeah, notorious right-winger Elon Musk has rarely ever spoken out against China for some reason. Has anyone figured out why? Where are Teslas made? Are they're an American manufacturer. Certainly they have no Shanghai facilities, right? I mean, that could not be made and sold. Yeah. There's no way that they would have any kind of Elon would ever have any kind of interest in continuing his relationship with China, especially as China basically has monopolized the natural resource extraction that is profoundly important for the development of batteries. I mean, obviously, dude, that would never. It is odd though. He just never shits on China for some weird reason.
The Rohingyas, which then led to a genocide. We know that Facebook's platform was used by people organizing the Capitol insurrection on January 6th, and that Facebook didn't stop that. And so we know these platforms can be misused. And there's no question that China could also, of course, try to misuse the TikTok platform. But what's interesting is that TikTok has proposed a plan that would wall off U.S. data from China's access. It basically has said to the government, we would store all of our data about U.S. users at Oracle, a U.S. company, and we would actually submit to oversight by the Treasury-led Committee on Foreign Investment in the U.S. So essentially that committee would be able to inspect their algorithm to see if they're promoting disinformation from China or any other state, and also would be able to inspect to make sure that the data about U.S. people is not being transmitted back to China. That's a level of control and state control over an app that we haven't seen before, and also is way more oversight.
I mean, literally, if that was the fucking case, then them switching over their data to Oracle, an American corporation, would immediately end the conversation. But of course, that's not the real reason why they're doing it. The real reason is they don't want competition, baby. That's it. That's it.
Than any of the other social media platforms have been exposed to.
And I'm wondering the broader implications of Congress trying to ban TikTok, especially in view of the fact that the United States for the last 40, 50 years has been the main proponent of globalization, of breaking down barriers between countries and letting companies.
Come on. It's only globalization as it benefits us. Obviously, duh. No, not like that. We didn't realize that this was going to happen. Please stop. We made a mistake.
Extend their reach and their trade. I'm wondering, for instance, the similar battle that happened over Huawei and 5G and the spread of 5G around the world with the United States, instead of welcoming greater intercourse between countries, was actually seeking to shut down the ability of a Chinese company to market 5G technology around the world. What's this going to do to the potential for individual countries now to begin to close their borders to trade and commerce in the digital age.
I mean, this is a really good point, right? So if we put the proposals on the table are A, to put TikTok under state control, to ban it, or to force a sale. All three of those things are things that I think the U.S. government would really be mad about if some other country tried to do to one of our companies, right? Right now, already, if you think about the social media platforms and how they behave around the world.
Okay, this is pretty funny because, like, technically, this is the only part of the conversation that doesn't make sense because, like, yeah, China already does that. Like, let's be real. So that is actually the one part of this convo where, like, the American government could be like, dog, you don't let us do Twitter in China. Like, you know what I mean? So we're not gonna let you do TikTok in America. You know what I mean? That part is true, to be fair. That is a valid argument to make.
Although we often like to be mad at them for various reasons, and we have lots.
Wait, old friend Dan Cop buying Google and Facebook stocks?
You're going to want to see this. This website is called Capital Trades. You can go down and click politicians, and you can enter the name of any of the politicians that you saw asking questions today and see what they invest in. Like Dan Crenshaw. Representative Crenshaw was one of the more belligerent members today of the committee. But I think it's understandable when you see what he invests in Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Meta, all companies that stand to benefit from this TikTok ban. I brought this up earlier in the week, but a lot of people didn't see it. But the thing that you have to realize is this TikTok ban really isn't a ban on TikTok. Here's the bill, links in my bio, but it actually seeks to give the government the ability to criminalize or ban pretty much anything.
Damn, that's crazy, dude. I can't believe they did that. This should be illegal. I don't give a fuck about TikTok. That should be illegal, okay? God, I fucking hate these people so much. God, I hate politicians so fucking much. They are such absolute monstrous scumbags, dude. Oh, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Anything. Or at least anything.
Technically, it's not even insider trading. Let's be real. It's you could say it's more stock manipulation than insider trading. Like, because they know who stands to benefit, and their actions. It's more stock manipulation than insider trading because, like, they know that if they fucking hammer, it's like betting on your own game as a basketball player, right? Because, like, you have the capacity to win or lose, right? So if you fucking bet and then throw the game, you literally did that. He knows because he's going to be in that hearing, he could just fucking hammer almost single-handedly. So much so that, like, his advocacy for this matter will greatly boost the competitors' stock prices. It should be illegal, but it's not.
Thing connected to the internet or is any kind of technology. Mark Warner, the senator who introduced this bill, is a tech sector venture capitalist investor. Looking through his disclosures, he invests in pretty much every sector that this bill would touch. He's not on TikTok, but he is other places where you can find him and let you know how you feel about his internet censorship bill. While you're on those other apps, maybe check out these people. These are just the House reps on this committee who have investment conflicts. There's a lot of them. Politicians really like their insider trading. I mean, it's hard to blame them. Rep. Harshberger here disclosed 4 different buys of Meta stock earlier this year. Wouldn't you know, in that time, the stock price went up from $141, the price that she bought it up, and now it's $204. Rep. Harshberger here saw a 44% return on that investment in less than 3 months. Again, it's easy to see why they really like insider trading. If you want another fun game, search the names of all the politicians who talked about protecting children today and their history on voting on gun reform. I just don't know that many schools that have had to lock down because of TikToks.
Stop honk shoeing and memeing at the moment that I fucking... Why did they show the clip on Fox of you saying how he lost his eye? It was more funny. It was... Wait, what? No, they didn't. Did they do that? No.
Care about the TikTok ban? You're going to want to buys of Meta stock earlier this year. Wouldn't you know? In belligerent members committee. But I think it's understandable when you see what he invested.
They do that? They didn't. That's bait. We're moving on. All right, let's
Lots
continue.
of reasons to be mad often. The reality is that they're being asked in most countries to act as government censors, right? So like in India, there have been huge pressure on the tech platforms to do censorship on behalf of the government. And some of that censorship, the companies have argued, is illegal, right? And so they are actually out there fighting for their users to have free expression. And that's true in a lot of countries. These companies actually spend a lot of time fighting with the governments to try to make sure their platforms can be a place where everyone has a voice. And so for the U.S. to suddenly say, okay, we want to support freedom of expression around the world, right? We do that not only through our private companies, but through our foreign diplomacy and our USAID, et cetera. We now actually don't want it at home, right? We're going to actually basically censor TikTok here. It makes it really hard for us to justify supporting freedom of expression around the world.
So let me ask you about other parts of the Restrict Act, which is co-sponsored. I mean, all of this is bipartisan in a time when the Congress couldn't be more partisan. But on going after China on this, you've got Senator Thune and you've got Senator
I mean, that's
Warner
always how it
and,
is.
of course,
You know how it
others that
is.
are co-sponsoring. So we know that
You've been mentioned on white people Twitter. That's always how it is. Oh, what the fuck? Why am I in the... First of all, did you just post this an hour ago? Holy shit. It looks like Disney just checkmated Ron DeSantis. The board of DeSantis appointed to oversee the Disney is now complaining that the company used a loophole to strip them of their power until 2053. And then I'm in the fucking corner? That's crazy. That's such a funny ass screenshot. A funny way to be mentioned in white people Twitter.
that they want TikTok to be sold to a U.S. company. But can you talk about other aspects of Restrict Act? Is it true you could face $1 million fine if you access TikTok? And also, what does this say about restricting VPNs? And explain what they are.
So this is the Restrict bill.
So the Restrict Act is basically this bipartisan bill that has come about because the White House apparently believes that they don't actually have the legal authority to ban TikTok. So they were floating this ban and then realized that they needed the legal authority. So this bill, as far as I understand it, is actually meant to give them that legal authority that they don't feel like they have right now. And so it empowers the Commerce Department to do some evaluations of different apps and to see what their risks are and then to take different measures to counteract them, including a ban. And so I think that the fact that it's bipartisan supported is...
Bro, I know one motherfucker that will pay the $1 million fine to see Booba. That motherfucker's name is XQC, okay? He'd be like, really? $1 million? How about I'll give you 10 so that I can look at 10 Booba? There's no amount of money. Dude, there's no amount of money, dude!
A sign of how united Congress is right now. I mean, I've never seen the Dems and Republicans on the same side so aggressively as on this particular issue. And it really is interesting because they're not united on privacy as a larger issue, right? Like the privacy bills have not moved, but this issue, which is more, I think, a China issue than a privacy issue, right? The reality is the reason they're united is because everyone sees political capital in uniting to fight against the China threat, right? Now, you asked me about VPNs. VPNs are virtual private networks. So basically, it's something you would put on your phone in order to route around your internet provider. It's often used in places like China where the government is censoring internet traffic, and it's a way to try to circumvent that censorship. And so it's interesting that you would think of restricting that when, in fact, that's something we tend to export to other nations in order to promote freedom of expression.
And could you talk?
Yeah. Or to sometimes avoid the top of the hour ad break, which I am not saying, but many people have said in the past, because I'm not allowed to say that. That's what people have told me is what VPNs are used for. But like, obviously, the method that I would tell you to avoid the top of the hour ad break, which is upon us right now, at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break, is of course subscribing. For $5 or for free, you can subscribe. Twitch Prime is free. By connecting your Amazon Prime account to Twitch account, you get 1 free Prime subscription a month. Or by getting gifted a sub, you can avoid the top of the hour ad break, which is now upon us. That's right. Here's the 3-minute ad break. Now, Graham Waters, thank you for the 5 subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour.
Talk a little about the difference in approach to dealing with social media and technology by the European Union versus what the kinds of legislation that Congress is considering?
Yeah, I mean, that's such a great question. The EU has been just years and years ahead of the United States in terms of taking the threats from these platforms seriously and addressing them thoughtfully. So, for instance, they passed a comprehensive privacy law back in 2018 that had laid out, basic standards for how data should be treated, what kind of rights users have over their data. And then this year, actually, new laws are coming into place to regulate the algorithms. So it's the first time that algorithms are going to be regulated. These social media companies that are above a certain size will have to report to the EU on they have to measure the risks that their algorithms are creating to things like teen mental health, the risks to democracy. These are really big and important questions that the companies have to answer. Then they have to show how they're going to mitigate those risks.
I don't like that part.
And that is something that is really creative way to try to approach this issue without censorship. So the idea is the EU is not saying, like, we've decided that this is a bad thing for democracy. They're saying you need to measure that risk. It's on you to show how you're promoting democracy and how you're not allowing for authoritarianism. And so I think it's an interesting experiment, and the U.S. hasn't done any of that, right? Like, we are nowhere near regulating algorithms. We haven't set a basic privacy law. And, the templates are out there. I will say this, though. California has passed a...
I'm so cooked, boys. I'm so fucking cooked, boys. I mean, as the number one anti-Nazi, anti-fascist advocate online, I get hit with Nets DG restrictions more than anyone else. Okay? I will assume that this will surely be weaponized against me as well. That democracy, the threat to democracy fucking part is so libbed up. I know that we'll use that to weaponize it against anyone and everyone.
A really strong privacy law that basically emulates the EU law. And so in California, there is actually a strong privacy law that goes into effect this year. And so we are finally catching up on the California level. But of course, Congress has been threatening to preempt that law with something weaker. So we may not actually get to keep that.
We only have about 30 seconds, Julia, but especially for young people.
It wouldn't be a fucking Democracy Now! Video without Amy Goodman being like, we have 30 seconds to fill, please. Every fucking Democracy Now! Every Democracy Now! Broadcast always ends with like playing out the person that you brought on board because you want to maximize your time.
People. It is critical, especially for young people on mental health issues, the increase in suicide. What exactly can be done? And as with other issues that you're raising, can the companies really regulate themselves?
Right. I don't think the companies can regulate themselves. We've had decades of them pretending to regulate themselves, and I think we have pretty clear evidence that that's not working. So I do think we need to collectively as a society determine what are important goals are and force them to do it. And I think teen mental health is one where A, there's not enough research on exactly what is causing the teen mental health problems and how much social media plays in. And two, we haven't put any laws in place to sort of enforce the companies to take that issue seriously.
Julia Angwin, investigative journalist, will link to your new article, How to Fix the TikTok Problem, author of Dragnet Nation.
The TikTok restrict ban being proposed in the U.S. right now. Is there a better video on the restrict ban before we get to it? Oh, this was MHUD's banger. What is it? Before we get to the TikTok sells mental illness as a product, period. Brother, it's not just TikTok. All social media sells mental illness as a product, period. I can't. Another person that blocked me on Twitter?
AKA.
By the way, the Restrict Act, aka the TikTok ban, also means access to your home network and devices.
Senate Bill 686, aka the TikTok ban. And this is a lot worse than I had actually thought it was going to be. You can grab the text yourself from congress.gov, but basically, they can't allow themselves to have access to your home network. That's because this bill also covers wireless local area networks, mobile networks, satellite payloads, satellite operations and control, cable access points, wireline access points, core networking systems, long, short, and backhaul networks, or edge computer platforms. But whoop-de-doo, Basil, what does that mean without the geek speak? Everything. Everything. Everything coming into your house beyond the demarcation point. Everything in my house. They have access to with this law. They will also have access to any service with greater than 1 million persons, including internet hosting services, cloud-based or distributed computing and data storage, machine learning, predictive analytics and data science products and services, managed services, and content delivery service. Oh, wait! Desktop applications, mobile applications, gaming applications, payment applications, web-based applications, all of these, it's covered. Your Xbox Live, your PlayStation Network, your Nintendo Switch, everything, your Steam Market, my Twitch, all of it. But by all means, you keep telling me that a VPN or Tor or I2P is going to matter when we're talking about 20 years, hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines, and you can't access all the rest of the infrastructure because they got it covered A to Z. Contact your politicians. This is a blatant violation of our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness in addition to the constitutional rights.
Restrict acts like the Patriot Act on steroids. I mean, the point is they used to always have access to this information. It's not the privacy that's different. It's that they are now creating a process in which they can just ban it. That's the difference. Does that make sense? The bill to ban TikTok is absolutely terrifying. It gives the government the ability to go after anyone they deem as a national security risk, at which point they can access everything from their computer to video games to their ring light. This is Patriot Act for the internet. Believe it or not, it gets even worse. If they find you in violation, they can put you in jail for 20 years, fine you $1 million, or seize your property. They can also deem any foreign government as an adversary without informing Congress, and everything they do is not subjected to FOIA. If this was about banning TikTok, they would pass a bill that simply bans TikTok. But the Uniparty is trying to create a same system of domestic spying they did after 9/11, but for the internet on steroids. So understand that this comes with additional complications. Okay, the complications are that the government already has access to all of your fucking detailed information. They can, but it's not that. That's not the problem. I mean, it is a problem, but that's not one they're going to solve anyway. This is just new restrictions on top of that.
The internet is about to fundamentally change forever, and it's terrifying. This is Bill S686, also known as the Restrict Bill. You'll probably know it as the TikTok ban bill, but it does so much more than just that. It actually does more than any bill I think we've ever seen. I encourage everyone to read it by going here and clicking the text tab, but here are the main takeaways. Foreign adversaries can change by definition, but a few are already listed. They are the People's Republic of China, including Hong Kong, Special Administration Region, the Republic of Cuba, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and of course, the Russian Federation and Venezuela under the regime of Nicolas Maduro Moros. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but these definitions can change at any time. The bill covers hardware technology like modems, routers, and home cameras, and virtual tech like VPNs, and basically bans them if they are manufactured by or used to contact and deal with foreign adversaries. Speaking of VPNs, using VPNs to bypass banned apps such as TikTok is made a criminal act under this bill, and the penalty, it's a minimum imprisonment of 20 years and a minimum fine of $250,000 or $1 million, depending if you knowingly did so to access banned content. The bill gives the federal government the power to monitor any activity used by these suspected devices, virtual or otherwise. Essentially, they can monitor what you are doing at home 24/7 without even informing you. This includes things such as routers, video games, streaming apps, smart thermostats, Ring cameras, basic...
Wait. Good luck identifying the user of the VPN defiant. My friend. Oh, brother. Oh, I got something really scary to tell you. You think VPNs don't collaborate with the federal government when they subpoena them for information? You think VPNs actually protect your identity on the internet? You just had a Chris D'Elia moment on the other side of that screen? Yeah. Depends on which company it is, and if they retain history, yes. PIA versus Mulvad. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that literally all fucking matter of VPN, if not the VPN, at least your ISP. Like anytime you fucking literally log on to the internet on US soil, the federal government absolutely has access to every single thing that they're talking about within this bill. And they can also get it from your VPN as well if they want to. Depends on the VPN provider. The big ones certainly collaborate. I recommend Mulvad VPN personally. Yeah, I doubt that there's like actually any VPN that will protect you from the federal government if they genuinely want to. There are some VPNs that do not collaborate with governments, and they have canaries to publicly advertise if they have received warrants. They stop updating the web pages once they receive a warrant. ISP is obscure from the VPN connection. That's the point. Not debating if certain company complies. NordVPN. Actually, we do comply with law enforcement data requests. Like 99% of the time, a corporation will comply with this law, even if it's an exception. Like it's not. Yeah. I don't think you can. The no-log VPNs can definitely protect you if you're not a high-level target of the feds, in parentheses, accessing TikTok. Yeah. Especially the big VPNs certainly do collaborate with the federal government. I mean, it'll be like an additional layer of privacy. It's good against hackers. But as far as like, if you're doing some shit illegal, if you're doing some shit that's like declared illegal by the federal government, like looking at booba on TikTok, XQC, then yeah, they will have the authority to take you down. As a matter of fact, they can even take you down if you're using the VPN in general. I think a lot of what we get away with on the internet, is simply a matter of like no one really fully prosecuting it. Kind of like the same energy behind like DMCA, right? Some IP holders are not litigious and don't really care. Others do. So you stay away from the ones that do, and you look at the ones that don't. Doing this shit for booba, but not the Silk Road.
Basically anything that uses.
Well, why would the federal government clamp down on their main marketplace that they regulate? You know what I mean? It's very obvious that they have no control over booba on TikTok, but they have a lot of control, as far as I understand, over Silk Road.
The internet. Now, the real terrifying part of all of this, as if that all wasn't terrifying enough, is that the bill goes on to state that this will happen by the president appointing a Secretary of Communication.
Commerce. No, it's a Secretary of Commerce.
Then forms a group on their own without any voter input whatsoever. This group can have meetings behind closed doors. They don't have to disclose anything. They can ban and deem anything inappropriate or a risk to security at any moment in time. And if they do, they can go through your instant messages, your emails, text, basically anything that uses the internet, and they can censor it. So in summary, this bill can effectively ban anything the government deems inappropriate extremely quickly without warning. The ramifications of this range from breaking up mass communication methods to even watching the cameras in your home, aka spying on you. It really is that bad, and I am not speaking in hyperbole. Please
I think one of the funniest parts about it also is that, like, TikTok isn't the only Chinese-controlled company that Americans use en masse. Valorant, Genshin, Reddit, fuck it, Twitter, League of Legends, Discord. You know? And Riot Vanguard has kernel level access to millions of American computers. This will eviscerate the dropshipping industry. Alibaba. There's so much Chinese money and so much Chinese control in our lives as far as like corporations.
Contact your reps. I have a video on my TikTok ban playlist on how to find your representatives and tell them if they vote for this, you will support their opponents in their next primary.